Thank you, Paula. Thank you, everybody, for the nice, kind words. I really appreciate it. Yeah, it was interesting to imagine. It's definitely, I feel like it's the beginning of a first, a first draft. There's so much, so many more layers and so much more that, I couldn't even touch on. Just, the activist part of Toni Morrison and all of the wonderful essays and how she thought about what life should be like and what how we perceive each other, and it was just fascinating because even when I was a student, I read her The Bluest Eye when I was in college, and then I really I guess I just dropped out of reading in general. Everything I read after that was technical, it was books for school, how to do this and how to do that, and I wasn't reading for enjoyment anymore. So it was really nice to take the few months in preparing to read several of her books and just kind of really get into her amazing, oh gosh, her amazing gift of writing. Just, and this is the kind of writing that you can't just like speed read through. You like to flip the pages. I finished the book, it was 100 pages, I'm done. You can't do that. I had to, like, a couple of times I had to stop myself and go, wait a minute, I got to read back and figure out, how did I get here? Because every line, every word is important. Every single word. And the nuance is unbelievable. And I sat out on my porch. It was so beautiful out. And I just kind of read my Toni.
Well, it shows.
It was fun. It's been a lot of fun.
So, what first got you into music?
Okay, so I moved up here to Rockland when I was I was in fifth grade. And as a kid, we always sang. My sister and I, oh my goodness, my poor parents. We were always we grew up in the Bronx, and in the city, you have these little front rooms, you have a big living room. Most of the houses that I would go into had a big living room with a little front room, and then the bedrooms and the kitchen, everything was in the back. Very 19, I think they built our house like in the 1920s or something like that. And so we would take advantage of that little front room, and that was our theater. And we didn't even know we were doing theater, but we would write songs and do little shows and do stupid songs that we would write when they force our poor parents to watch, and we would just have fun pretending and stuff like that. So I think it came from there. That's where it really started. I didn't know that it was something that I wanted to do until I got much older, till I was maybe about 16, 17. I had a wonderful teacher um, in high school who was like, you can sing. And I was like, really? And so I'd go over to her house and she'd give me voice lessons. And then one day I said to her, I think I want to, major in music. And she went, hallelujah. She was like very happy about that. And then after that, I just have not stopped. Even when I was going through rough patches with my voice and having vocal problems, it's something I just can't put down. I just can't not do it. And it won't leave me alone. Some days I wish it would, but it just won't leave me alone. So,
What's your creative process like?
what's my what?
Creative process.
Oh gosh. Okay, I can say this is a Zoom call, it's not broadcast. I am super anal, okay? That's all I'm gonna say. And even making this film really showed me how crazy I am for details. And I would laugh because, you're watching everything, everything. I go to a concert and I literally, probably one of the only crazy people who whips out my notebook and starts taking notes about what the singer is doing, how they approach the note, this note that they're singing. I write down what their song selections were, how did they put, I really sit and think about it, analyze it. And you know, I, it's like I can't even say it. It's like going into the zone. You just sit it and thinking and thinking and thinking and mulling over and observing. And I have to say, a lot of what I've learned, you learn from just watching other people, like I'm sitting at the television set, and a lot of the ideas I got for the film portion is just from watching, MSNBC. I'm like, oh, look at what they did with the backgrounds. I wonder how they did that. I could do that. I think I know what that is, and thinking about that and thinking about what singers are doing and how they're using their instruments. So that all informs me, but there's nothing better than just getting in the cave, putting yourself in a space where you just sit and force yourself to think about nothing else but the project. Like for when I was writing the lyrics to that song, The Bridge, my friend gives this to me. We're recording, and he says, I wrote a song for you. Why don't you write some lyrics? And I'm like, oh my goodness. And for about a week, I sat there and just stared and listened to what the music was saying, like what the notes, what vowel would sound good on that particular note, the way that the line was. And then from there, a word would come out. And then from there, the full thought. It's very strange.
No, I like it. I mean,
I'm sure it's strange. I'm sure other people have a much more interesting creative process in mind. But there it is.
thank you. How do you feel the internet slash pandemic has impacted the music business?
Oh my goodness. I think it's funny. I think it's exposed a lot, in that it's exposed at how much we cover up, we hide behind these images that we create, you know. Like we look slick on our album, then we do a slick performance, and somebody's been engineering it to make it nice and sweet and stuff. And you can see that the raw, as this was a raw video in a lot of ways, that it's not that easy and it's not that sweet, it's there's a lot of covering. And so I feel like we've all been uncovered, and who we are is who we really are, what our talent is just laid bare. And it's forced us to become something that we didn't necessarily train to do or expect to do. We expected other people to do it, but it's been really, really good, I think, for the business, because it just helps us, if nothing else, appreciate those who do those kinds of skills for us. It helps us to understand how much the work they do and how needed they are. And so, but I think that, you know, I think the jury's still out to some degree on how it's all gonna fall, but you see the real musicians. Like I've watched a bunch of those they had a lot of telethons at the beginning of COVID, and you could see like those some of those guys who really are talented, man. They're just sitting there in front of their, they got the guitar and they've thought through this whole thing and they're exposed and they're fabulous. And then you saw some people that you're like, okay, you have some talent, but you're okay. So it was interesting to kind of see, it all kind of put together like that. So we'll see. I don't know. That's the answer.
That's a good point, though. Yeah, yeah. Thank you. I'll ask one more question, and then I'll open it up to everybody else.
Okay.
So what's next for you? Do you have any other shows coming up, or any other?
Well, I also got a grant to do a children's show with Arts Rock, which goes up on the 7th of November. And I'm right now doing it all again, but this time with a whole bunch more musicians. And it's for kids. So the pressure is on to be really engaging and stuff like that. So it's called Ella's Basket, a jazz concert for kids, and it'll be aired on Arts Rock. And then after that, I'm thinking that I'm gonna go back and I'm gonna try to do like just one song at a time, though. Find some. I'm probably gonna do my album. So, and come up with some fun scenes and make it interesting visually, and release songs from that, and try to develop this show some more, get deeper, and maybe even get some help, with it, so that when the pandemic is over, I could actually do it live and do a full, beautiful hour and a half concert live. And then, I have a show that I do about Ethel Waters that before the pandemic was getting ready to go. We had been invited to go and do the performance in Arizona. We would have been done by now. We would have said would have been in the past. We were supposed to do that in March. No, April of, maybe it was January. We were supposed to do it soon, this year. And so that's been pushed off until whenever. And so I'll still pursue all of those things, and hopefully I'll have some more things to release on the internet via some live videos. So, but it's been fun, and it's been great to acquire this skill, being forced to be something different. It's good. We all need that, we all need that.
We would love to have you live
Yeah,
someday.
thanks so much.
Yeah. All right, so we have one Q&A, it looks like. Oh, Angela's asking, what obstacles do you have to face as a Black female musician?
Oh man, don't get me started. There are, first of all right, I sing jazz, right? But I believe it or not, and this is going to sound crazy to some people, and so I'll try not to make it too crazy. But I was talking to a radio host who I met at a conference, and she had come up to me, and it was really nice. She had recognized me and said, "I play your music." And, that's always really encouraging, because you think it goes out there and nobody ever, it's out there and nobody hears it. And then she told me, she goes, "I pulled you off of a shelf, because at my radio station, where they have a shelf for Black older women that they don't play." And I don't know if it was just Black women, but it was older women that they don't play, because they don't want to hear older women, older jazz singers. They want to hear the young people. And she goes, "I pulled you off of a shelf, and because I loved you." And she plays the music and stuff like that. And it made me think about how just my age, forget about being a Black woman, just being an older woman. And I know I don't look that old, but I'm old enough. I'm old enough to know better. That's how old I am. But being age uh, is an obstacle, because the young whippersnappers, they're looking for the next person that's going to make a lot of money for the industry. And, and people don't necessarily see older people as doing that, which is funny, because, we never stop growing and we never stop changing. We can do it at any time. There's no limit on what we can do and when we arrive. That's up to God. But so that's a limit. And strangely enough, there aren't a lot of Black female jazz singers. Most of them are young kids that have come out of school. Most of them are Caucasian. They're young, and some of them are like amazing. That's a wonderful thing about jazz, is it really doesn't have any color lines. But I always find it strange that there are a handful of young Black girls singing jazz. And so I find that for me to still present myself, I mean, some of the great big stars and some of the girls who are doing really well are young and Black. And there are some great young Black singers. But I always feel like I have to really like prove something when I'm up there. And some people don't, and it's all about taste. I don't like your voice, I love your voice. And so those are all, there's so much subjective attitudes in this business, that that in itself is an obstacle.
Thank you.
But we overcome. We don't care, because you know what? We're not in it for anything else but the pure joy of singing and making music. And I am so grateful that people tell me that they enjoy it and that they like to hear me sing. And I really am, I feel like it's a gift that God has given me. And I'm so grateful to be able to share with others, and that people enjoy it. And, at the end of the day, That's what it's all about, right?
Yeah.
It's about people, loving other people, making them happy. So,
Any other questions?
oh, thank you, Angela. I want you to do more to develop this format. Definitely. I definitely want to do more to develop this format and the reflection, the story. Yeah. This is a first for me. And now that I've seen it and, really seen it, there's a lot of work to be done, but I'm excited about it.
Paulette is asking, what are the top three women that influence you the most?
Top three women: Ella, Carmen, and so Ella Fitzgerald, Carmen McRae, and I have to say Abby Lincoln would be the third person. Those are my singers. I just love them. Of course, Ella's got this gorgeous voice and she's just a free spirit. And Carmen, as she aged, her voice wasn't as beautiful. She had a beautiful voice when she was young, Carmen McRae. But boy, she was so great with the words. And she told such a great story, and I love her. And then Abby, the thing I love about Abby Lincoln is that not only is she a great storyteller, but I love that she just evolved so much that she went from just being, someone who was just going to make another jazz album to becoming an entity all unto herself, writing her own music and presenting the music the way she wanted to present it. And I really love that about her. So those are my three top people. And and I love there's a lot of people. There's so many great singers to love.
I agree. Angela's saying that you were fortunate to have your gift shared with us.
Thank you. Thank you. I feel very fortunate that all of you came to hear me. Thank you.
Well, I think that's the last question. But thank you again. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, it's been my pleasure. Thank you so much. Thank you to Nyack Library for always reaching out to me. I've done so many concerts for you guys. I really appreciate it. And I hope that there'll be more in the future. And thanks everybody for coming and
Thanks for coming, everybody.
stay safe. Don't forget to vote.
Yes,
I'm voting my absentee ballot. I'll be sending that in this weekend.
All right. Have a good day, everybody.
All right. Take care. Bye bye.